everyone, it's GreenRanger, co-host of the Duel Assessment. If you're a regular listener or if you listened to the end of last week's episode, you would know that this episode is a bit of an abbreviated news segment in that I am going to be talking to myself here. Decktech, who is the other co-host, he is out on vacation. He works really hard and puts a lot of hours into his work, so much deserved vacation. If you're looking for the type of crack analysis that he normally brings, you won't find that in this episode. He is a better thinker of the game and better deck builder and knows a lot of things that I don't. So if you're looking for his input, you won't find that in this episode. If you were going to listen to this podcast anyways, regardless, and just wanted to catch up on some news or some other topics I'm talking about, then feel free to continue listening to this episode. Thanks for that. I'll just be talking about some news topics in this episode. Next week, I don't think he's back next week either, but I might try to bring a guest or do some kind of interview. I'll see what I can muster in the next few days or what availability I have for the next episode, but chances are that I'm not going to be talking by myself here. But so get ready for this next episode. I'm just going to be talking a lot of the news items and also some rumors. See you there. Hi everyone, today is April the 8th, 2017, and this is the Duel Assessment. My name is GreenRanger, and if you've listened to before, this is just going to be a solo show where I talk about news that's been going on, some upcoming news, and also some speculation. So let's go into it. First things first, the bonus duel reward campaign has been going on for a few days, and it's going to end Monday night, which is a weird time frame. Typically, things end Sunday night in America, and there's some kind of maintenance period, but for some reason, the bonus duel reward campaign is ending Monday night. There's 1,000 bonus duel assessment points for every duel you do, so basically, you're getting that one extra chest or reward, and if you're lucky, you're getting an extra card. So it's important to get this done, get your duels in and get your farming. You're getting extra keys, obviously, and other resources from the standard duelists. And also, if you're facing off a legendary duelist, of course, you have that extra bonus for getting the card you want, the SR or whatever you're trying to farm. So if you're trying to farm a Shizu, Kaiba, now's the time to do it. Personally, I have played Kaiba a bunch with the Agent 07 deck I talked about last week, and actually got a pretty high assessment. I got the max at 8,600, I think, in a farming run, but he pretty much gave me nothing except for that horse guy. That horse guy, that's a rare. It's a pretty bad card. He didn't give me, so I'm still looking for my two other enemy controllers, but if you're not doing anything in the game, just run your farming decks while you can and take advantage of getting what you want to get from the legendary duelists. Alright, another past news item is the card flipper campaign, which allowed you to pick one of 5 cards for each day. There are only the campaign went for 7 days, I think, but you can only get a max 5 rewards. And the only notable thing about that reward campaign is that it gave a card called Shield Spear, and it's pretty funny how Shield Spear, they said it could practically be used in any deck. They're not exactly wrong with saying that it could be used in many decks just because it's versatile. It's a trap card, first of all. Normal trap. You select a face-up monster, it gains 400 attack and defense until the end phase. So 400 obviously is less than reinforcements. It's less than that other card that helps your monster's defense. I think it's called the Reliable Guardian. It gives your guys 700 defense, but there are some things that you said about versatile cards. This does two things, and you could use it to protect your monster depending on whatever situation you're looking for. Obviously, if you're boosting attack, you're trying to kill off a guy who is trying to kill your face-up monster. And for defense, you're trying to keep something on the board to get a tribute summon next turn or some type of summon. So this is definitely a budget card. If you didn't get reinforcements, it rotated out of the last pack, and this is, a budget card for that deck. It could go in other decks where you're trying to run a second reinforcements, or if you need something to help boost defense, like let's say you're playing Gravekeepers and you want to keep a Priestess alive, and you don't have half shot or something. This would allow you to keep her alive and get your Gravekeeper's Oracle next turn into your power turn. So this is definitely a card that has uses as a budget card, and it does fit into many decks. So keep this card in mind. You only get one copy of it, of course, and like I said, it's a good substitution for any cards you're missing that have a similar function. So that's all that's to be said about the Shield Spear. Another news item that's really, really interesting is that Bakura is coming back to Duel World. And he's coming back Tuesday, April 11th in America. And that coincides with the end of the bonus duel reward campaign, which is ending on Monday night. And it's really interesting. Decktech actually texted me. I don't think I was on my computer, or I was outside somewhere in the rain, and he texted me saying Bakura is coming back, and that was obviously it's a shock that he's coming back. Bakura, Yami Bakura, obviously, if you know from the lore, he is a guy who never dies. He's a spirit, vengeful spirit, and it just seems too soon for him to come back. I felt the campaign with the Destiny Board of Doom went long enough, and obviously there were complaints about the rewards he gave, which were a bunch of mediocre cards, to be honest. And there was a survey that Konami sent out about the event, and I guess most of the respondents, or a vociferous enough bunch, persuaded Konami to bring Bakura back. And it's interesting that it's good. It's really good that Konami listens to their customers and is doing this again to appease the fan base. And obviously, it's better to have an extra legendary duelist running around Duel World instead of having nothing, just one guy or girl in the Duel World for free keys. And I don't think they mentioned the Destiny Board of Doom coming back, so it's possible you don't have to collect the dice. That might have been a stumbling block for some people. They didn't want to grind the dice for such low rewards, so it's possible he just shows up at the duel gate, or shows up like Yugimoto as a free roaming legendary duelist. It's pretty interesting. You could say that Bakura's coming back, he's getting the same rewards, but he's not. They made it known to say that there are completely new rewards this time. So, new rewards, I assume all the cards, or at least most of the cards, are going to be different. So let's go through some of the cards you could give out. There was some data mined information of cards, and some of these cards have appeared in past sets, or they have appeared in the game somehow. Like Bakura uses the card, and you're never going to use it, but it's in the game. So let's look at some of these cards. The first one's Sangen, and I don't think Sangen is coming in the game. It's just they introduced Gokabon recently, but that's only for insects. The ability to get Sangen to search for any 1500 attack or less, obviously you would go for something like Relinquished in Duel Links. And, of course, Sangen is really powerful because he does not have to be destroyed in battle, so you could just tribute him. So, I don't think Sangen is coming in the game. Maneater Bug. He used this in the level 50 or level 40. I forget which level he was in, but Man-Eater Bug was definitely in the game. And it's a more powerful Yomi ship. You could choose whatever you want to destroy. It's basically a Mishizuri on a body. Again, Man-Eater Bug is a bit OP in Duel Links, and I think he's just in the game for the computer to use. So this is an interesting one. Bakura has not been known to use Masked Beast Desk Artist, but you never know. It's a fiend, and it's not the strongest fiend because it has conditions. It's a special summoned monster. We have to tribute 2 monsters, and there are 2 monsters. Out of the 2 monsters, there has to be 1 card as the Grand Tiki Elder or Melkit the Four-Faced Beast. And both of these are basically the same. They're 1500 attack, 4-star fiends. So they're pretty lackluster. And this guy, Masked Beast, has 3300 attack, 2500 defense. When he dies, he leaves a mask on the board. I think it comes up as a spell or a trap, which lets you take control of another monster. So that's basically what its effect is. It's a bit like Dark Necrofear, except, yeah, they both do the same thing where they could take control of a monster after they die. In the anime, Masked Beast was used by the Rare Hunters. There were 2 Rare Hunters who wore masks. They wore half masks. And, yeah, so I don't know if this has anything to do with Bakura, or it could have to do with the upcoming Merrick event. So this is in the datamine files as a possibility. Yeah, and Grand Tiki Elder and Melkit the Four-Faced Beast are also in the datamine file, so it's possible you get to use them in some way to summon the Masked Beast. I think Melkit the Four-Faced Beast and the Grand Tiki Elder both existed in Bakura's decks at level 20, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't play too many of those, but I think they were in them. So this card here has a high chance of being a reward. Dark Ruler Hades. And Dark Ruler Hades, if you've faced level 40 Bakura, you've seen this guy enough. 1 Tribute Fiend, 2450 attack, which is just as good as a Summoned Skull, practically speaking. It can't be special summoned, so that's important. And you basically negate all effects with monsters destroyed by fiends. So running any type of Necrofear deck, all you're running are fiends. So this is a pretty strong effect. There's a card called Twin-Headed Wolf, which is a 1500 fiend, and that only negates effects of things it kills itself. So this has a whole board effect. And obviously this is pretty strong against things like 4-star Ladybug of Doom and other cards that have powerful effects when face down, Yomi Ship, for example. So I don't know if this is too strong. I mean, this is in the game files because he used it against you, but it could be the ultimate card he gives out. I don't know. It's an ultra rare though, so it's possible he doesn't give it out. Alright, so Portrait Secret, 1200 attack, Fiend. It could just be some throwaway normal card he gives out. Or it could have been his level 20 deck, I don't know. Fatal Abacus, continuous trap card. Each time a monster is sent from the field to the graveyard, inflict 500 points to the owner. So I think this is a Merrick card, but, they have these Fiend, there's eyeballs on the Abacus, so it could be Bakura, I don't know. This is a bit of a burn card, except burn cards with Taya, they don't really run monsters, so it's a card that probably doesn't fit into any deck in particular. Alright, Maju Garzet, 7-star Fiend, Mysterious attack, 0 defense. And the mystery attack is its attack is equal to the combined attack of the 2 monsters you tribute summon to summon him. So, I mean, it looks sexy as it's a win more card, and you get 2 out. You'll probably get more than 3000 attack. So off the bat, stronger than Blue Eyes White Dragon, except it has 0 defense. So any of those cards that you see nowadays, like Windstorm, Meveda, Curse of Anubis, Enemy Controller, any number of things, Sphere Karibo, flips into 0 defense, and he could get killed by anything. So this is just a normal card. Could be given out as an award. I don't know if it's affiliated with Bakura at all. So just another card. Opticlops, 1800 attack fiend, 1700 defense. That's it. This would be pretty OP, obviously. I don't know if it's associated with Bakura. It's listed as an SR. So pretty rare get if you get this card. But obviously, like we mentioned before, Disc Blade Rider is the strongest fiend, non-tribute fiend at 1700, and this guy has 1800. So definitely a good beatdown card. And also Dunamis Dark Witch, despite the name, is a light monster. So she and she's a fairy. She falls victim to Yami Fields. This guy off the bat becomes 2000 attack for 4 stars. I don't think he's going to be in the game. Seems a bit strong for the moment. Maybe later. And another fiend with 1800 attack, Gilgarth. This might also be a merit card. I'm not sure. But, you never know. It's a fiend. Dark Geroid. I think this is also a merit card. I mean, they're both bad guys and they use these evil-looking fiends. But basically, Dark Geroid is a 4-star fiend, 1200 attack, 1500 defense, so a bit weak. When it's summoned, target one face-up monster on the field and it loses 800 attack. This could go your side or your opponent's side. Very flexible card. Like any of those cards that use traps to boost, this basically weakens an opponent. And the 800 is pretty strong compared to Needle Sunfish or Rigorous Reaver. So maybe this comes into the game. I don't know. Maybe it's a merit card. Here's a new card. It's a Fiend, Mad Reloader. 1-star Fiend with 0 attack, 0 defense. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, send 2 cards from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, draw 2 cards. Now, obviously, this card is useful for Necrofear. You're trying to unload your hand fiends into the graveyard. So this possibly could be a card Bakura gives out. And the last card I have in the speculated list is Mind Drain. It's a trap, continuous trap. Activate this card by paying 1,000 life points. Effects of monsters in the hand cannot be activated. So I think this could be a card you could give out just because of Sphere Kuriboh being OP. Konami has the data. Every deck you see online, Sphere Kuriboh has utility. It just does so much. Can't counter it. It's in every deck. It has that extra ability to be used for Relinquished. It's a Dark Fiend, so it has all these effects. And, would you run a Mind Drain just to counter one Sphere Kuriboh? I don't know. Some decks run multiple ones, so it's a specific counter for a specific card that is OP. So that's what makes Mind Drain a possibility for the Bakura event. So yeah, there's also possibly other cards that have not been data mined, and I don't know. But those are some of the cards he could be giving out. So stay tuned for Bakura. He's coming out on Tuesday. Alright, so the next news item is the Yugioh Duel Links Vietnam Championship Spring 2017. Apparently it's the second such tournament in Vietnam, and it was done to celebrate New Year's holiday there. It's pretty interesting. I don't know if there have been any official tournaments in the States or in Europe. There might have been small things like the Vietnam one sounds kind of serious in that they got a lot of people to compete in it. They didn't just pick a few people, I think. But it makes you think if Duel Links could become an esport. I mean, it's people play Yu-Gi-Oh! And the advantage of having a digital game is that you don't have to carry the cards around, and you could just do it with someone somewhere else on the phone. So you just have to be their friend. Yeah, I don't know if Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links could be an esport. I guess the game moves so fast. It's possible. It's possible that it can. I mean, never say never. And it's a mobile game. Mobile phone games are catching on popularity. If you didn't realize, Pokemon Go was pretty big last summer. So yeah, I don't know if Yugioh Duel Links is an esport, but it's cool that they have these championships in Vietnam, and it's certainly not going to be the last one. So Game A was kind enough to have the decks online, so I guess I'm going to talk about the decks that were from the winners. So the decks, the first place guy used a Gravekeeper's deck, and the second place and 2 third place runner-ups got used Harpy's Hunting Ground. So not too much diversity in it's pretty much what you would expect as the best decks nowadays. But they're pretty important in that they were created very constructively. So let's go through the decks. Let's see. The first deck, I don't speak Vietnamese, so is by Nguyen Tan, and this is the Gravekeeper's deck. He has Sphere Karibo, first of all, and he has the 4 power cards and 2 oracles and 2 priests. Gravekeeper's Priest has been making a comeback recently, so it's pretty... he's putting 2 of them in. 3 Gravekeeper's Recruiters, and this is pretty cool. 2 Priestesses. Most decks typically run 3 of them, but I guess he saw tech cards as more important. He runs 2 Soul Exchanges, 3 Enemy Controllers, Windstorm and Vetaqua, and here are some tech choices, I guess. 2 Twisters, 2 4-star Ladybugs of Doom, and 2 Possessed Dark Souls. So obviously, the 4-star is to counter Harpy decks and also Dinosaurs. Possessed Dark Souls to counter Relinquished. And yeah, I guess he has a lot of tech choices. He came to win the tournament, and he did. I guess having those tech cards did help him a lot. And of course, in the tournament setting, it's a smaller microcosm of the most competitive. So it's possible that these tech cards had bigger impact compared to years later, and he could face anyone in the world. So yeah, it's pretty interesting that we were talking about deck flexibility, and this guy pretty much saw having 2 of each of these Twisters and Possessed Dark Souls and 4-star is worth having an extra Priestess. Second place guy is Phuan Levan. He has a Harpy's Hunting Ground deck. This is the most standard deck of them all, except it doesn't run Relinquished. So it has the Harpy Lady Sister, Sphere Karibo, Harpy Lady 1, Birdface, Dunamis Dark Witch, 2 Jerry Beans, 1 Warrior Digrapher, 2 Sonic Ducks, 2 regular Harpy Lady, 2 Order to Charge, 1 Enemy Controller, 2 Elegant Egotist, Mirror Wall, Mishizuri, Metalmorph, Windstorm, Vetaqua. So, you see a lot of Harpy decks, they run a lot of Mirror Walls. This guy's running 1 of each trap. No Relinquished, so a lot of beatdown type style, 1750s, 1700s, 1800s, just a beatdown style, I guess. Third place is Duck Trung. He has an interesting deck. He also doesn't have Relinquished, but he has Sphere Karibo, Harpy Lady 1, Harpy Lady 2, Dunamis Dark Witch, 2 Axe Raiders, Battle Ox, Digrapher, 3 Sonic Ducks, 1 regular Harpy Lady, 2 Order to Charge, 1 Elegant Egotist, 1 Mirror Wall, 1 Windstorm. And here are the interesting cards. He runs 2 Shooting Bow Seals and 2 Reverse Traps. So, Shooting Bow Seal obviously allows you to have the direct damage, but it also has utility as an equipped spell on your opponent's monsters to weaken them by 1,000. So I don't know if that's what he used it for. And also Reverse Trap is also a very interesting card, where it switches up. If your opponent's monsters are gaining attack, it makes it a negative. So I guess this deck is focused on weakening monsters. A very powerful attrition, not attrition, but like lowering attack of strong monsters. And I guess, it's just, otherwise beatdown style. You're hitting them harder, obviously, when they have less attack. So I guess that was his strategy. And the other third place winner, Ta Nyuk Ha, he probably ran the most interesting deck of them all. It's another Harpy's Hunting Ground deck, and this one actually has Relinquished. So you're carrying the package of Sonic Bird, Senju, the Thousand Hands, and also the Black Illusion Ritual. He's got other cards in it, like Sphere Karibo, Birdface, Yomi Ship, Harpy Lady 2, Jerry Beans, 2 Sonic Ducks, 1 Harpy Lady, 1 Order Charge, Enemy Controller, what is this? Mirror Wall, Mishizuri, Windstorm. Here's some other interesting cards, though. He has Divine Wrath, which probably is meant to counter Gravekeeper's Oracle. Rising Energy, which gives 1500 attack to a monster. And this is the most interesting one. He has BES Big Core, which is an ultimate rare from Valkyries, I think. It's a 2300 machine, 1 tribute, but it has 3 counters on it, and whenever it gets destroyed, you remove a counter. So basically, it's a card that has 3 lives on the board. I've been trying to get one myself for a machine deck with Victory Viper, and I still have 100 packs to go for Valkyrie, but it's a pretty cool card. And I mean, this guy got 3rd place, so he obviously got defeated by the other guys, but I guess BES Big Core could make a splash. It shows that he has one of the most competitive decks with this card that, you know, people don't have or they don't play. So, pretty interesting stuff. So, you know, those decks are pretty, you know, they're up there. So if you want to run those types of decks, you can check it out. I'll include a link to the Game A page so you can check those out. All right. Next topic. A poster on Reddit. I don't know if it's the same guy who data mined all those other cards, but he found a interesting picture of a new NPC in Duel Links. It's this cloaked figure, and someone found that it's the card called DD Guide. And DD, it can mean a lot of things, but if you're familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh, it means different dimension, and that basically is a term you would use for banishing cards. So DD Beast, DD Warrior Lady, they all do stuff like if you destroy a monster, it goes out of play. So, and what is interesting about her is the first picture shows her with the deck editor structure, I guess you would call it in the game. Is there's a label called Dimension Holes over it. So Dimension Hole, if you know, removes something from play. And there's also to the right of her, you see cards like Bubonic Vermin, which rotated out. So it's possible she is a way for you to trade cards, or get cards that have rotated out, like Bubonic Vermin, for example. You know, obviously this would be big. New players are obviously disadvantaged for not having those cards in their sets. And this could be a way for you to get cards you missed out on. And cards, the picture of the cards, they have a timer on them, so it's possible they're available for a few hours. You know, like the card trader. I don't think they're going to be available for 2 hours because you could be asleep and you could miss the card you really want. So it's possible they're on the 12-hour rotation, which would be splendid. If you didn't get a chance to get a card before, you know, this is obviously a way to do it. So yeah, if this is not if this is not something that got scrubbed out of the game already, and she is upcoming, this would be really big and allow us to have more full collections. It would be a really good thing. So let's hope that DD Guide is going to be a thing. Alright. So this last part is pretty abstract, actually, this last news item. And it's about Yugioh VRAINS. VRAINS. I guess you would pronounce it like brains, but it's VRAINS. And then I saw this on Reddit as well. And there's an upcoming anime series, the 6th series of Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime called VRAINS. And it's coming out in Japan in the May 2017, so in a month in Japan. And, you know, this is the 6th series, obviously. The one that we all know and love, and that all our characters are in currently, is the original series. I think the Vagabond's from 5DS, but I don't even know what the hell 5DS is. And then there's, Zexal and GX. I think 5DX is when they started using motorcycles, which is kind of when the show jumped the shark, if you will. But this is the new series, VRAINS, and apparently its setting is pretty much the same thing as Duel Links. They're making a virtual reality duel world, and another thing that's interesting is that they're using the quick speed duel format, which is what we are doing here in Duel Links. You have your 3 zones and 4,000 attack. I forget what other rules there are in speed duels, but obviously, if you play Duel Links, the games go pretty fast. And yeah, so if they're fighting with speed duels, it's pretty interesting because I don't know how they could fill the episodes if the duels are so fast. I guess in Yu-Gi-Oh, they only had 4,000 attack as well, 4,000 life points as well. It's just gonna be a lot of filler talk. I guess there's got to be some kind of impetus where there's a lot of banter, talking back and forth. So I don't know what the show is gonna have, but it's very possible that there's gonna be a lot of banter. And there's also a new format in Yugioh VRAINS called Link Summoning. And Link Summoning is pretty confusing. I still don't understand it. But basically the monsters don't have defense points. They have a link point. And they also have arrows on them. If you've played the Final Fantasy IX card game, in the game, they have different arrows pointing in, 8 different directions. These cards have the same thing, except they're, pointing to different monsters in the duel zone. And you could do various tricky things with special summoning monsters from your extra deck. And Link 2 means you need to distribute 2 things to summon it. Very tricky things, but it's possible that is associated with the new series. I don't think Duel Links is going to have this function for a while because the cards are still pretty simple. But they are pulling cards from all over, and they have Gemini, for example. So it's very possible that this function is coming to the game. And it's called Duel Links, and Link Summoning is the new mechanic for the game. And they're going to come out of the cards, obviously. They're blue. So yeah, I don't think that this game is going to move that fast to have Link Summoning. And, they have pendulums, for example. A lot of tricky mechanics that I am not familiar with. And I'm sure most nostalgia players, only very few people probably still know how to play that game in the newest format. So I don't think they're going to bring it back, but it's possible. It's pretty cool that this game was brought back, and it's an accurate representation of what the new series is about. It's a virtual reality world called Duel Links. So, pretty cool. Alright, so the last thing I'm going to talk about is the Duel School today. And I'm going to bring up a forfeit deck called the Pot of Dichotomy deck. And it's pretty fun. I saw it on Game A. And what this deck does is it's a pretty focused on control. So you have Relinquished as your, board control guy, but you also have other cards. So you run 3 magical merchants to mill through your deck. And yeah, 3 magical merchants, so they mill through your deck until you draw a magic card. And the magic card you would want is Pot of Dichotomy or Black Illusion Ritual. Pot of Dichotomy lets you bring 2 different monsters back and put them in your deck. So you would take what you need. Obviously, the deck depends on the card called Desert Twister, which is a UR from the new Sky deck. And you would basically take out 2 wind monsters and 1 earth monster from your graveyard to special summon him. And basically, he lets you discard a card from your hand to destroy a spell or trap. This is pretty strong for taking out the back row or the field, if for any matter. Very strong control card. And obviously, if you discard him, you have your Pot of Dichotomy to bring him back and put him in your deck. You run a bunch of you run a bunch of wind monsters and earth monsters. A 4-star Ladybug of Doom, Cocoon of Evolution. I see Hunter of 7 weapons. adhesive, explosive, so bunch of cards. And I have played it myself. I only have one Pot of Dichotomy, so obviously I lost a lot of games. I substituted different cards in with Wind Monsters. Probably put Twin-Headed Gemini Behemoth in, for example. So, I tried to play the deck my best. Obviously, I lost a bunch of games, and I would need a second Pot of Dichotomy, so I will try to get that. SR stones are kind of scarce for buying things now, so I don't know if I'm going to do it right away, but it's a very fun deck, and I highly recommend playing it if you have the cards. Alright, so I'm going to wrap it up for today. I talked about a bunch of news items and more so rumors, I guess, so this is a bit of a rumor episode. I'm going to wrap it up. Next week, I might try to get a guest on, or if I don't get a guest, I might try to do some kind of interview. I'll see who I can reach out to in the community. Or it's possible I don't do an episode at all, or if I do one, I could do something similar to today. If you have any suggestions, you could comment on the blog at theduelassessment.wordpress.com. Email us at theduelassessment@gmail.com, and you could also tweet at duel_assessment. And of course, if you have any suggestions, send them my way. My Twitter handle is GreenRanger HS. That's it for today's episode. Happy dueling, everyone.